there. Welcome all. We'll give everyone just another minute or so to jump in, Deb, and then it's all yours.
Okay, yes, I will let's give it another minute or two to let people come in. I know it gets a little tight out there. I just had an unexpected meeting myself right before this. I was scrambling to get back online, so we'll give people a couple more minutes. I didn't hear back from everybody. I'm going to go check and just make sure something didn't filter out. I'm having things filter into my spam folder these days. I just want to make sure there's somebody waiting to hear from me. Nope. Well, and Arlene, I believe we are recording this meeting, this training. So everybody, I hope everybody's okay with that. Any concerns about recording? Okay, and I appreciate everybody muting. I see that you are muted because it can cause a lot of background noise while we're talking, but then obviously we will have time for a lot of conversation as well. So, and for those of you who can't use, that don't have a microphone or a way to speak up, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you do have a chat option. You can just click on the chat at any time, even during the middle of the presentation, and type in a question or a comment, and we'll all see that. You can direct it to either the speaker or to everyone, and then we'll be able to follow up with you as time allows, as appropriate. So here we are. So yes, I'm Deborah Stinson, and first I want to welcome everybody. We have several other volunteers that I don't see on the call. I hope everybody got the message. Here's a few more. Good. Let everybody get in. But that's, again, why we are recording, so that we can make this available to those who couldn't join us today. And I first want to thank you all for stepping up for this particular volunteer activity. It's very important for our community that we have you in the mix here. And I want to share with you just a little bit about the background of the program to kind of help you see where you fit in. And then I'm going to introduce our other two presenters as well. So very quickly, my role at this time is the business liaison with the Department of Emergency Management's incident management team for the COVID response. And in that capacity, I'm working a lot with the Chamber of Commerce, EDC, Economic Development Council, and Main Street and other business organizations that have a much closer relationship with all of our businesses in the community. I also come at it from a little perspective in that I am involved with one retail business here in town as well, so I can kind of see it from that perspective as well. So as this was coming up and we were starting to think about the reopening, there was a lot of concern being expressed in various meetings through the chamber mostly, businesses expressing concerns about the safety for their employees, and their employees expressing those concerns as well. And this was even before the whole masking directive came down from either the state or the county. And they were concerned, one, for their own safety, as well as having to be enforcers, on making sure the public was enforcing. So that's kind of where we said, well, if we all do this together, if everybody in the community, all our businesses step up and say we're all going to require these things, then it'll be easier for our employees, and our community can feel safer, our employees can feel safer. So we started down that path, and then Arlene got more information that she'll share that further reinforced the need for doing something like this. And we then set about putting together this program, and I give a lot of credit to Arlene and her Chamber of Commerce for really picking this up and helping us put together a really robust program that I believe is really going to make our residents more safe, as well as all of our businesses and our visitors. So we're pretty much well underway here. And I will then turn it over to Arlene to talk to you a little bit about what the program is, what we have done so far, and then where you fit in. I'll just say you are here though because our policymakers did, when they learned of the program, they were really excited about it. They thought it was a great idea, but they really wanted to put a little more teeth into it. And so that's why we needed to have people to go out and help us verify. So I'm going to leave it right there with that and turn it now over to Arlene to talk a little bit about the program. Arlene, for those of you who don't know her, is the director of our the Chamber of Jefferson County. And it takes in most of the county. We're also working in coordination with Hood Canal, North Hood Canal Chamber, as well as Main Street and others. But Arlene is the one that pretty much put this program together. So Arlene, and then if you'll introduce Sarah after you're done.
Absolutely. So first of all, welcome and thank you for joining this movement, and it is one. It came out of Chamber Cafe, which came out of chamber cafes with people sitting around the chamber drinking coffee and eating actual, real, non-virtual muffins. Remember those days when you had like actual cups of coffee that people poured for you and stuff? It was amazing. And so we couldn't do that anymore. So we thought, let's go online with that. So we do that Friday mornings from 10 to 11 every week. And it gave all of our businesses an opportunity to share how they felt. And we had started an outreach program at the chamber in late February to all the businesses in Jefferson County, not chamber members, all businesses, and taking notes on how they were feeling, what they were doing, what they projected for themselves, what did they need to make it through what were going to be certainly unprecedented times. And one of the things we heard over and over again, and just to set the stage for that, the chamber is the Chamber of Jefferson County, but we are also the DMO, the Destination Marketing Organization for the city of Port Townsend, just because we want to confuse everybody. And it doesn't confuse us or the city, but it does make the rest of the universe a little nuts. In that regard, what we were hearing were the businesses who said, you know, my employees are making more money on unemployment than I could pay them, and they don't feel safe and they're not going to come back. All these tourists are going to come back again when the weather gets nicer, and we don't really want them. But if they don't come, we can't like survive the winter. So it's a love-hate relationship to the extreme. And then we heard from the employees who said, well, you know, we don't want to go back to work. We know that the extra money in unemployment won't last forever. So we'll go back to work when it's done, no problem. But how do we keep all those people who are coming in from making us sick? And if you think back, all the way back to like early March, when the pandemic started to be called that, and we started hearing the fear in people, the stay home, stay healthy, don't leave your house. If you're in an at-risk group, don't go out of the house, wear a mask. How do you feel then about people coming to your town that you don't know and coming into your shop or your office that you don't know? So what we heard in the community was overwhelming fear. What we heard from the public was really different. They're like, get me out of Seattle, get me out of Portland. I want to go someplace where it's not as crowded and there's less disease. Let's go to Port Townsend. So that was a recipe for disaster. So we really started looking at this and trying to think, what could we do to try to bridge the gap? How could we find a way so that we could help market the city of Port Townsend without saying, don't come here, stay away. And then in August, turn around and say, okay, come now, because they won't remember that. They'll only remember that you said, don't ever come back. So we looked at that for a long time, and we kept talking about it in Chamber Cafe, and people kept saying the same thing. over and over again. And what kind of assurances would make you feel better? What would make you feel better? What would make you feel like we all cared about you? Oh, wait, this is a very welcoming community. This is a community that cares about the people that live here, people that work here, and yeah, even the people that visit here. And how do we make those people feel the same way we do? And how do we let everybody that lives here and works here know that we all value the hard work that they're doing and have done in staying home, stay healthy to flatten the curve? That's been successful for us. How do we keep it that way? How do we not overwhelm Jefferson Healthcare? How do we stay the way we are? And yet, we can't stay that way forever. We're going to have to open the doors of our businesses. So Jeffco Cares is really a business community pledge. It is a commitment to this very caring and nurturing Jefferson County community to focus on staying safe and staying healthy for our residents and our employees and our visitors. And we put together a program with Jefferson's guidance and assistance, and with the help of Jefferson County Public Health, with checklists and trainings and safety features and posters, which I'm going to show you, and window decals, and a really comprehensive marketing campaign to push this out to the community and the larger community, to the county, and to put it out to the visitor community and be able to market to that differentiating factor for people that are coming from some other place in the I-5 corridor, which is the first part of tourism that will return nationally, is that inside 50-mile piece. This will set us apart. If you go to Port Townsend, you may need to wear a mask and you may need to socially distance, but you may have a safe and healthy vacation. And you may be very welcomed and have a good time. So that is how it started. That is kind of what we have. Right now we've got a big campaign in print and multimedia. And we have, I'm gonna share my screen and see how that works for us. So in case you haven't seen it, that's the poster that everybody who joins, who signs the pledge, that's the poster they get. It's 2 by 3 feet, so it doesn't hide really well. And it is a sunny, not often seen here except for today, yellow. And that is the poster. This is the Mask Up poster. That's being distributed for the first time today. You're some of the first people to ever see it. And it says Mask Up. And that's to help our businesses have one more thing to point to when they're looking at having to say, you know, we really request that you wear a mask here. And so that is that piece. And then you are the first people seeing the next. And this is all about you. This is when you go out with your checklists and you verify. That is a window slick. That's Jefferson County Cares verified. And that is very much the visual aspect of the program. We have teamed up. We originated the concept, but we've engaged our community partners. Certainly, the city and the county have been amazing partners in this program. We are thrilled to have them bring along DEM and public health to join this and really take this program and give it legs and make it stand for something and show the Olympic Peninsula and our visitors at large what kind of community we really have. The reason all of us are here and stay here and came here, and the reason that they love to visit us here, and all of them want to move here. this is a community that truly does care. And the first week that this program was in place, we had almost 100 businesses sign up for the program. And we're a little higher than that now, but if your business hasn't signed up, take the pledge. And that is jeffcocares.com. Couldn't be easier. And with that, I am going to pass this over to Sarah, who will say hi and then share her screen with you.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Sarah Groth, and I'm an environmental health specialist with Jefferson County Public Health. And I have quite a number of years now of going out into the community and assessing health and safety measures as a regulator. So today I am going to share some of those skills and knowledge that I have to help you guys be successful with your verification visits. I always, since day one, I always have considered myself an educator before a regulator. And by no means are we expecting you guys to be regulators, make that 100% clear. But I think I was asked in part to do this because of my strong belief in educating businesses and educating people to do the right thing. And there's no one way to fit every single business and every single person out there trying to do the right thing. So that is my goal today. So I have a semi-short presentation, but I really want to open it up after we go through this to address your questions and your concerns and anything out there that that you guys are wondering about. This is an amazing program, and I would just like to also reiterate what Arlene said, that this is a very special community. I grew up between here and Whidbey Island for 20 years and was gone for about 15 and moved back about a year and a half ago. So being an adult now, I have a very different, it's a very different view of it, but I was very pleasantly surprised when I came home how much it hadn't changed. How a lot of those businesses that I grew up with as a child were still here. The very first Thai food I ate was at Kularg. I mean, in my entire life. So, I mean, there's a lot of specialness here to me. So I am so grateful to be here and to help educate you guys into going out and doing the verification visits. So with that, we will start my PowerPoint here. Arlene, it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
So host didn't. Always nice.
We're all struggling through technological stuff through this pandemic. It's
So I just tried to fix that. If I couldn't and you wanted to.
I think it's gonna, yep, now it came up.
Awesome. The magic of technology.
Are we good?
Well, you are perfect.
Okay, perfect. All right, so just to formally introduce, this is the Jeffco Cares volunteer training. My name is Sarah Groth, and I am with Jefferson County Public Health. So first off, thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you to Deb and to Arlene and for our community leaders in putting this together. I think this is a very unique program to Washington State as far as what I've seen. And I think it's just incredible for all the people to come together and try to protect each other and get through this very strange time and something I didn't think I would ever see in my lifetime of a pandemic. So you are all very appreciated. And so I just want to start it off with that. Just thank you all very much. So just a little bit more into the role of a volunteer, you guys with Jeffco Cares. You guys will be going out into the community to visit businesses that have, taken the pledge for Jeffco Cares. They've taken the pledge to do certain things and have certain things in place to help us get through this as a community, and to help, people, to calm people's fear, to just all be on the same page. You guys are public health ambassadors. Don't let that scare you. You are here to represent the public and health. And to the businesses that are struggling with that, or that are scared to approach that, and the citizens and the guests, we're all here together to, to just go for it and help businesses and the public align with our goals as a community. So you'll also be working with me in the future throughout these visits, because I will be the coordinator for you guys. And we'll get to that a little later as far as contact and all of that. But really, you guys are going out to these businesses to try to observe any gaps that they may be having in trying to comply. Any difficulties that they're having, successes that they're having that we want to share with other businesses. We all learn so much from each other that I don't really see how a community can get through something without a program like this. We are very, we're very lucky that we're a smaller community and we all know each other, and a lot of us, we're on the same mindset of wanting to protect each other. So you guys are a part of that, and a very important part. So as you guys get ready to go out and do your visits, I want you to be prepared. Simple, simple things just to make sure that you have your own little checklist, if you will, for you guys to be prepared. You will each be issued a badge, a name badge with a Jeffco Cares, official badge, so you can show someone if they ask and say why you're there and who you're representing. We'll ask that all participants, volunteers, wear a mask. Bring on your own pens to use. It's just a good example to use your own pens. So the less items that we're sharing, the better. You will be equipped with information packets. These information packets will include the state guidance for each sector that we'll be visiting, a checklist specific to that sector. We always need a smile and a positive attitude. You are there to help them succeed. So go into it thinking that you are there to help them. And everyone that has signed up for the pledge, they want you there. They want your help. They want you to verify that what they're doing and what they have put in place aligns with the pledge. So just always try to remember that. I always try to start off every visit I have with the community with a positive attitude, because it can be daunting. I'm going to be honest. It can be, it's not always the most easy thing to do to go into someone's business, but you guys have a lot of support behind you and a very good mission, and just want you to know that it's something to smile and be happy about. So some more preparation items before you go. You'll want to call the owner or the manager, or the PIC, as I say, the person in charge, to arrange a time that is convenient for both of you. If there's one thing I've learned, well, there's many things I've learned in my job, but time for business owners is very important. I'm always trying to be very cognizant of, to not go visit a restaurant at their lunch hour, to try to be as respectful as I can that they're running a business. So calling them to try to arrange a time that's, convenient for both of you is very important. So you get their attention. You have a set amount of time that you guys are both planned for to do the visit. It's also a very good idea to familiarize yourself with the business. You'll each be assigned, I'm not sure the number per volunteer, but you'll each be assigned certain businesses that you're going to do your visits to. So what do they do? Look them up. Ask the chamber, ask us, what do they do? It's always a really good idea to familiarize yourself. Sometimes We might think we know what a business does, but it's always good to just check in and see what they actually do. Try to put yourself in their shoes. How this new normal for all of us is affecting them, their employees, their business. Just try to think about those things as you're prepping yourself to go out and do these visits. We're going to go over the checklists in a little bit, but just familiarize yourself with the checklist. Like I said, each one is specific to each sector. So retail, personal services, accommodations, offices. I think those are it, but we'll have that all down packed so you guys will be ready to go. And get ready to put your teacher hat on, because that's what this is all about. You are there to educate. You're not being asked to answer things you don't know. That's okay. I have to say all the time that I don't know the answer, but I will sure get that information for you. But do your best to educate and work with them and have them see you as an educator and someone that is there to help you, or help them, excuse me, with their business and with all of these requirements that, we all have to abide by now. Businesses, already have a lot of regulations put on them just normally, aside from having a pandemic. So I just really want to empower you guys to just put that teacher hat on and get out there and help them where you can. So when you arrive at a business, it's always good, again, to greet with a positive attitude and thank them for participating in the pledge and what that means and what they're doing for their community. And then just notice what's going on around you. One of the first things that I do when I do a visit is just kind of just stand there and just for a second, just kind of notice. If I was a customer, if I just walked in, what are the things I notice right away? Do they have signs posted? Are they wearing masks? What are the red flags? Do you see anything that's really, really above and beyond, or even that's, that they have the signs posted? Congratulate them for that. Thank them for doing things that they're already supposed to be doing. And then also it's just good to lay out the business. Just kind of gently observe the size of the building, areas you might want to look at. But also I imagine that the manager, the person you're meeting with, will give you a good tour and lay of the land. But just kind of start that conversation about why you're there and what the goals are and what you both hope to accomplish. All right, so like I said before, checklists. There's a checklist for each sector. So this will kind of be laid out for you. They're very handy. I didn't put a sample up or anything, just because they're about, in a full page and it wouldn't really fit well with PowerPoint. But basically it outlines different sections and a requirement, and then you'll circle yes or no. And we want to encourage you guys to give one of the checklists to the operator, the person in charge that you're doing the walkthrough with or the visit, as well as using the same one at the same time for yourself. So you guys can compare and that they can understand what you're circling and what you're writing down. I can't tell you how many times I've told people get really nervous when you have a clipboard and a piece of paper and they want to know what you're writing and what you're doing. So just do it together. You're there to help them. It'll make the person in charge less nervous. And it's a great teaching tool too. I use this same tactic when I'm doing regular restaurant inspections or something, just to be completely transparent. And I want the person that I am there to help to know exactly what I'm doing. There's no secrets. There's no hidden agenda. We all just want to help our community be healthier and be the safest that we can be. We're in this together. You will also be equipped with guidance documents for each sector that either the state or the governor has provided. They have a lot of good stuff out there, and they're constantly being updated. A little less now that we're, you know, things have slowed down a little bit, but I wouldn't hold my breath for that as we go into different phases and different things happen with this pandemic. But you can, you know, rely on us to get you the right information to be taking with your visits so that you make sure that you're giving the right information to the operator. The guidance documents have the details of all of the different items in the checklist. So as you're going through the checklist and you need a little more information about what something means or why that's on the checklist, you can reference that. And you can also guide the business owner where to get that checklist or provide them one at the visit. Don't memorize, just familiarize. Don't memorize any of it. They're both there for resources, and a lot of the visit will be through conversation. It's really important that you listen to what they're saying and the problems that they're having, the gaps that they don't know how to fill, or the requirement that they don't understand, or understand how it can work for their business. We can come up with solutions for that. We can help them. So it's really important to just jot down things that are going on during the conversation. And this link down here is all of the guidance documents, and you guys will be sent links, or we're also going to put packets together for you. But in case someone wants to look at them ahead of time, or all of the different ones, there is a link here for that. So during the visit, you'll want to review their plans and their actions that they're taking against the checklist. Does it align? Are they veering way off? Do they have nothing that's aligning with the pledge? Or do they have everything? You're going to look at everything. No one place is going to be perfect, and we don't expect that ever. That's why we got and verify, right? We're trying to help people understand these requirements and be in compliance with them the best that they can, and the best that we can help them be. Explain the why behind a requirement, I have found very useful in my ability to explain to an operator, to a manager, to a person in charge clearly, and so that they understand. And that way they are able and comfortable to train their employees on that and give their employees the information. If you think about it, a manager is just another, a step like in what we're doing. We're trying to give all businesses the right information. So when we get to the business, we give the manager the information. They need to be able to give that same information to their employees. So we want to make sure that they understand it. It's in a form that they understand and can use and can teach to their employees. I will keep reiterating, we're all in this together, and it's a team effort. And if we're not all on the same page, things can go awry. So questions, and explaining is key. Offering simple solutions. Don't overburden them or yourself with some of these complex requirements, or looking too deeply into them. A lot of it's pretty simple, and sometimes the state and the government can make things very wordy and kind of hard to see through the lines. I'm not a fan of that. If I could write guidance documents, they would be a lot simpler, and they would have a lot more to the point, and probably a lot more pictures. I don't know anyone that wants to read a 6-page document of requirements that they're supposed to do on top of everything else. So simple solutions. Listen to their concerns. Every business is going to have their own concerns, their own struggles. Listen to those, jot them down, bring them back to us. Compliment things they're doing well. One of my favorite things about compliments is the compliment sandwich. If you have, a criticism, put it in the middle of the sandwich. You have a compliment, put your criticism, top it with another compliment. Sometimes they're better received that way. And again, jot down the questions that they have that you don't feel comfortable answering, or if you need to gain more information, totally okay. It is okay to not know everything. That is never expected of anyone. Even with me, with my job, I'm not expected to know everything, but I do have a lot of resources and I know where to go to find the answer. And at the end of the day, that's the more important piece. So after you've done that, visited with the business and their operation, again, point out successes. What are they doing right? I emphasize that because operators like to know what they're doing right. When someone comes to verify or do a visit of anything, whether it's volunteer or regulatory or even a customer, even just as a human, we want to know what we're doing right. It gives us more confidence to go forward. I don't know about you, but if I'm always just getting criticism and, you know, nothing positive, it doesn't give me much motivation to really improve. It has to be a good balance of both. So kindly criticize, constructive criticism, but also really celebrating the things they're doing right. Go over the checklist together. Let them ask questions. Clear up things that they don't understand or that they're having trouble complying with. Make suggestions for improvements if possible. By no means are you required to do that, but if there's something you see that could work for the business that you're in, offer that. See how it can make it work. Like I said before, one of my favorite parts about my job and just in dealing with public and things that they have to do is trying to find a way to make it fit for them. It's not black and white. Nothing about regulations, not that these are regulations, again, not regulations, but these requirements are black and white. They are not. There's no one size fits all. And really thank them for being a community partner. I have gratitude so much for all of you and for these businesses that have taken this pledge. It's not an easy thing to do. But I think that if we all come together and get on the same page and help each other out, we will keep on being very successful. And then at the end, you can either give them their verified sticker if they are mostly in compliance or mostly have the checklist, you know, good to go with the guidance. And it's also okay to schedule a follow-up visit. You know, if there's some things that they need to get taken care of that you can't fix right there then, just say, hey, what can we do? How can I help you to get in compliance? And when would be a good time for me to come back and verify that this specific issue was taken care of? Maybe they, you know, needed some time to print some signs or, you know, get some extra hand sanitizers or whatever it may be. You know, just don't leave them hanging. And people want to do the right thing. At the end of the day, throughout my career in public health, people want to do the right thing. We just have to give them the tools to do that. And I am here for you 120% to help you guys be successful with these visits and to verify that our communities are doing the best that they can do to make employees feel safe, to make customers feel safe, and to give them, the owners, the business owners, the confidence to do that. Because ultimately it starts with them. If they don't have confidence, you know, it'll trickle down to their employees and to their customers. So really building them up and telling them they can do this. Like, you got this. We all got this. That's really where it starts. And I'm really happy to be a part of this. And I'm really excited to work with all of you. And any support I can provide, please let me know. This is my contact information. So there's me, Sarah Groth, my email address and my phone number. That's my office phone number, and I can answer it whether I'm at the office or if I'm at home. It just forwards to my cell phone. Like I said, I'm here to help you succeed. I am here to help all of us succeed. And please do not hesitate to contact me. In case of my absence or you can't get a hold of me, Susan Porto is an amazing resource. She's worked at the health department longer than I have. She's just a really great person too. She will support you just as much as I am and I can. So I wanted to provide an alternate contact in case you cannot get a hold of me. And yeah, with that, I would just really like to hear any questions, concerns, anything from you guys and how we can support you.
So thank you, Sarah. That was great. Maybe at this point, we will be sending all this out. Excuse me. We'll be sending all this out in email, so you don't have to write all this down. I would just like to point out that probably the earliest that we'll be starting all of this will be mid next week. So we're not going to do this right away. You're going to have some time. We're going to be emailing out a lot of the information, the checklists, the guidance documents that this was built from, so you can kind of have some time to get comfortable and familiar, because we just kind of threw all this out there. We want you to have some time to look that over. And then, again, as Sarah mentioned, she's going to be your primary contact. She's actually the program coordinator now through the county. And she will be contacting you again early to mid next week with a list of businesses that we would like you to visit. And then you can start the process. And then when she does that, she'll also provide you with the information on how to get your packets. You'll get a full packet that has like all the checklists that you're going to need, the various documents, the verified stickers, your badge, all of that. So you will be receiving that. And so with that, I think I'll leave it there, and then we will now open it up to questions for any of us. So does anybody have questions, concerns, suggestions? You know, this is, we're kind of building this plane while we're flying it, so we're happy to get input from people who have stepped up and are looking at this with fresh eyes.
I very much second that.
Nobody?
Couple of questions.
Okay, good. Is this Jack?
Yep.
Hi, Jack. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How many businesses are there in Jefferson County?
I will leave that to Arlene. I can tell you how many are signed up. And right now we have a little over 100. And I think about 20 or so of those are restaurants and food service, which Susan at the health department is at public health is actually going to do this work for any of the food services. So we'll have about 80 businesses so far that the rest of us will need to cover. Arlene, do you want to answer the bigger question?
So unfortunately, I could not hear the bigger question.
Oh, it was how many businesses are in Jefferson County?
Oh, that is a very tough question. So in Jefferson County, because not every business, I know you'll find this hard to believe, not every business has a business license. And yeah, go figure. And yeah, not every business sells or provides services in Jefferson County. So we know that the chamber has 535-ish members, and that we have about 250 other businesses that we are aware of and track and talk to on a regular basis. So there's about 800 that we speak to regularly. And there are more that we speak to occasionally that come and go, and we don't know how many there are.
And then,
So,
Wait a minute, Jack has another question, I think.
yeah, and then in terms of would this be like a one-time thing where the businesses are visited and then verified, or given this is going to take a while for it to all play out, is this something that there would be repeat businesses, or just a little more about, is it a one and done instead of multiple visits, etc.?
Right, good question. Thank you for asking that. We originally envisioned this as a one and done, but then again, public health did come back and say, well, you know, if this goes on for months and months, we probably would like to go out and get second visits, just to kind of make sure things aren't, you know, getting a little too lax out there. But what the timing of that's going to be, that's kind of yet to be decided. But I imagine it would probably be 2 or 3 months out from the initial visit.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Carol.
Hi. So I'm guessing the focus is on those businesses who actually have people coming into them. I understand it's employee safety as well, but am I right in saying that we try to do those where you're expecting customers and tourists and so on first?
Yes, that's a good assumption. We really went with the public facing and the high touch is kind of how the county framed it. And so obviously that's your food service and restaurants. And they've already been very active in working with public health, because that's the one area where public health actually has jurisdiction. It's kind of hard to ask them to do that over retail and other places where they don't have jurisdiction, but it's very kind of them to help us with this. So then retail obviously is a big one, as well as personal care, which is things like your hairdressers and
Right.
nail
Salons, yeah.
massage. And then the other is accommodations,
Mm.
hotels. And I will tell you that the last two, personal care has some good guidance that's been made available. We don't have a whole lot of those that are signed up yet, but we hope to see more. The accommodations is going to be a little trickier in that the state hasn't put out super clear guidance, because they were an essential business, and the guidance is for reopening. So we're working with all of our owners and accommodations have been working very hard to figure this out, and they're working with their industry. There's guidance coming down from and Arlene could tell me right away, the hotel association, accommodations associations. Arlene, do you want to talk?
Their website is hospitalitynet.net. So
yeah, and they're getting a lot of good information, and they're sharing a lot of these. Arlene has hosted some industry specific workshops, as we have also done similar workshops with public health, and there's been a lot of sharing of information. But I think on those, we'll probably not assign those out unless there's clear guidance for you to go on.
Okay.
Those of us
Thank you.
in the conversation. So we're going to try to be selective, and Sarah's going to help us with this. On when we assign to people, you'll probably see mostly retail, and also maybe office situations, where you have people coming in, like insurance offices and stuff like that, and some personal care. But the restaurants and accommodations will probably be handled either through public health or somebody involved a little more closely in the program.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Laura, are you speaking? You're muted. It's down at the bottom. There you go.
This is my second Zoom meeting. Just to get a general idea about how long these visits may be, just a general idea there. And then just a couple of things about one of the things that you said, Sarah, was about, and I'm just going to read these, and perhaps if the information is going to be in what you send to us, but it's explain the why behind the requirement. And so I was wondering about how will we know, what that why will be. The other thing I wondered was offer simple solutions. So how will we know the simple solutions? Will that be in the information? And making suggestions. Well, that was kind of the same thing as offering the simple solutions. Find a way to make it fit for them. So will this, with those kinds of statements that you made, will that information be included in the packet of information? And then again, just as an idea, how long can we expect a visit to be?
Yes, yeah, and I'm sorry I had that in my notes, but you know, when you're giving a presentation, your notes kind of go to the wayside, which I am notorious for. So I would say on average 30 to 60 minutes. I would, you know, say it's err more on the side of 60 minutes because some people just like to talk more. You know, some people have more questions, some people just have more to say. So that's why I would say 30 to 60. And then as far as the why, so a simple or an example of that would be, you know, why do we have to wear masks? Or why do we have to require our employees to wear masks or our clients? It helps protect all of us. You know, you don't need to give us, you know, a crazy scientific definition or some, you know, nothing like that. And if it's helpful for me to make a little guide, like this is the why behind masks. This is the why behind that. Let me know, because I want to equip you guys with the information you need. And so that's one of the points of this, you know, workshop, is to address, you know, what you guys need. Does that answer that one as far as the
yes, it does.
Okay. And then with simple solutions, you know, maybe they don't have hand sanitizer in, you know, great places. Maybe you might see where they should have some up the front counter, or you see where maybe they could use a barrier where they're having some challenges, either, you know, social distancing or being in compliance with some of those simpler things. We're not looking for you guys to, you know, create a whole plan for them at all. And again, if it helps, I can just, you know, create a little document that's simple solutions. But I think even more so, you guys can just jot down things that people need solutions for. You know, if it's not like super simple, like a hand sanitizer bottle somewhere, just write it down. Be like, I'm gonna ask our public health person about that and get back to you. That's where I'll be in the background supporting all of that. Does that work?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, got it.
I have 2 questions.
Okay. And who is this? Go ahead.
Bonnie,
Oh, hi, Bonnie.
with the whole regard to the thing about people wearing masks and business owners being expected to remind them or ask
Is there
them,
any information, like if somebody does need a barrier, where they would find one or find a resource for one?
Okay, we had 2 questions going on there at once. So I think, Sasha, you were asking about how we can help them get a barrier.
Like if that was obviously it's easy to say you can get sanitizer at QFC or whatever, that's fine. But if they needed something like a barrier built for them, you know, do we have a list of places that are currently making them or selling them?
Good, I don't know, but I think we probably could find that. So
Definitely.
we could provide that. That's a good idea.
Definitely. Sasha, that would be, hi Sasha, how are you?
Hi,
That would definitely be something to bring back to me and to the group.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of try to assess, because those are the things that, yeah, you know, we don't know where people are having gaps and troubles. So
Right.
the more solutions that we can try to find behind the scenes, great.
Okay.
Bonnie, I think you were trying to ask a question. If you could speak up a little bit, we're having a little trouble hearing you.
sure, no problem. With regard to masks and the business owners being encouraged to have people wear masks, what happens if the person says no? What is our response to that?
Okay, so I'm going to mute and let Sarah speak, because I've got that phone ring.
Are you there? Okay, so I believe it was kind of hard to hear. But I believe the question was about masks and what if the owner or the person that you're meeting with is not wanting to wear a mask. Was that it?
The visitor, not the owner, the visitor.
Or if
Customer.
somebody comes into your shop and you ask them to
they don't
put
wanna wear masks.
on a mask, and they said no.
I'm sorry, there's a lot of background
Okay,
noise,
so-
and I can't really hear the question. I keep getting snippets.
I'll jump in here. I'll try. So the question is, if you've got all the signage, and somebody comes up to your business and they refuse to wear a mask and they still want to come in. And so that is some guidance that we need to give our business owners. It comes up a lot. There's a big concern about that. And there's two things we can talk about there. One is the business owner is in full authority to say, well, I understand that you're not comfortable wearing a mask, or you don't have one. We've actually supplied our businesses with some masks that they can give away for free. So they can have masks on hand for people. If people still refuse, then they have their right as a business owner and having a private business to say, well, that's the rules. We are working to comply with both state and local directives. They actually have been given signs that show the directive that this is required, that we're giving them everything they need to reinforce that. And it's like, we're sorry, we're doing this to keep ourselves safe, and we're trying to keep you safe, and we would love for you to come back when this is no longer an issue. Other businesses another solution you can give them is offering curbside service. I know the store I'm involved with, they can say, if you're not comfortable coming in, we're happy to do curbside service. Let us know what you want. We'll go in and get it for you, and we'll do the transaction outside. So, Sarah, did you have anything to add to that?
I would just add that, as you kind of said, the directive from the health officer and a sign is available on the county's website. So it kind of lays out the whole reason why, and the exact directive from the health officer, who is the one that made the order, to put with the sign. And then, yeah, just like Deb said, it's really ultimately up to the business owner. I like to kind of compare it to the no shirt, no shoes, no service, no shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service, if they want to go that route. And that's all I'll say.
And, it is their choice to let them come in as well. And that, there's nothing that prevents them from doing that. They are required to have their employees be masked, and that they request that their visitors be masked. But if the visitors refuse, one option they have is to let them in. Now, there is a challenge, because some folks have medical reasons they can't wear a mask, and there's no way the business owner is going to be able to know, and they're going to be able to challenge and say, show me the note from your doctor or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be a personal decision, and I would hope that that's a conversation that the business owners had with the employees to find out their comfort level with that. But then you'll have the flip side. If you're letting people in without masks, then you have people show up saying, I'm not going in your business. You got people without masks. So it's a challenging area. But as long as all we can do is make sure that they're complying, that they have the required signage that will be very clear to you when you get your packet, and that they are enforcing it with their employees, as well as offering it to their visitors. There is going to be pushback, and we have another solution for that we'll talk about here at the end as well, another option to consider there. I'll also mention, since we're on the topic of masks, because it is a hot topic, this is probably the primary area where L&I could get involved. What's L&I? Labor and Industry, right? It's the state agency, the enforcing agency behind any of this. We don't have any enforcement in Jefferson County. None of this is a law. It's all a directive. There is no ability to, call law enforcement unless there's a public disturbance. We'll talk about that later. But L&I can impose fines on businesses who are operating out of compliance. And that might be a concern for our businesses. And I got it clarified today from L&I that, and this is something we'll be able to share with the businesses, that L&I isn't going to be going cruising around looking for businesses. They're going to be responding to two things: either a complaint from an employee who says my employer is not keeping me safe and requiring me to come to work in an unsafe environment. Or the business themselves can reach out to NI if they're really, really struggling finding a way to meet the requirement, or the requirement isn't clear. Because believe me, some of the directives and some of the guidance, there's some conflicting information out there, and every business is different. They can't write something for everybody. So the business can reach out and say, could you please come help me figure this out? The only way, L&I operates a lot like public health. They're going to work really hard to help you be in compliance. They want you to be successful. The only way they're going to fine is if you just refuse to do it. It's like, I'm not going to make my employees wear masks. I'm not going to ask my customers to wear masks. Well, then you're going to get a fine. Or you just say, well, this is just too hard. I've got a business to run. I'm not even going to try. You could get a fine. But as long as you're trying, you're going to be okay. That's the message for the businesses, as long as you're trying to comply.
And also, that's part of the pledge, right? That so I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the businesses that have signed up that you guys will be visiting have already pledged to do these things. So
yeah,
I think that should kind of ease some of the more difficult people, if you will, just as far as the masking issue.
Right. All these businesses want to be in compliance.
Right.
They think it's a good thing. They just want to make sure. I think you're going to be appreciating too that when you look at, say, like what are simple ideas, or all of that. You're bringing in fresh eyes into a business, which is always immensely valuable. To be able to have somebody else, they're looking at your business from a different perspective than what you and your employees see day in and day out. And they're going to be very appreciative of, like, well, when I look at this is what I'm seeing. They'll say, oh my gosh, didn't even think about that. Let's come up with a solution. So.
Yep. And also on the guidance documents that we'll be equipping you guys with, that L&I information is on there, as far as how the employer or the employee can reach out for questions or concerns or what have you.
Are there other questions? Can't hear you, Sasha. We need your mic.
Unmute.
No, you need to unmute, Sasha.
There we go. Sorry,
Yeah.
wrong button.
There we go.
So how many visits do you anticipate each of us doing?
That's a good question. So right now we have 10 volunteers. One of the volunteers is committed to South County. So that might limit the capacity somewhat there. And like I said, we're taking out all the restaurants and food service and accommodation. So I think we're probably at about 60 businesses. So we're going to try to divvy that up as equally as possible. We will try our best to make them geographically appropriate. So if you're in Port Ludlow and there's a Port Ludlow business, you'll probably get that one. But we can't guarantee, unless you let us know that you have geographic limitations or even time or capacity limitations on how many businesses you can visit. It'll be up to you as far as scheduling. Once we give you the go, we'd like to start scheduling within try to get it done within a week or two. Obviously we want to get it done as soon as possible, but then again, we're not even going to start giving you businesses, the names and contacts and all the information until a week from now. So you'll have some time, and it'll be up to you if you want to do 2 or 3 in one day, or if you just want to do 1 a day, or so you just need to let us know if you are feeling overwhelmed, or if you have limitations we need to be aware of.
Okay.
And I'm also happy to answer questions once you get your businesses. Anything I can do to help you feel more comfortable. even going to the first one with you. Whatever you guys need to feel more comfortable, I'm more than happy to accommodate. Just because I know it's a new and weird thing, and sometimes two is easier.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
Will there be a follow-up after doing the businesses, kind of with the volunteers and all of you?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So good question. So we didn't get to the final step here. So you've come away from the business, you've got your checklist, and that'll have whether or not they're in compliance, and it'll also have questions. So it could be a two-stepper. If you left with questions that need to be resolved, there might be a return visit required, or it could just be a question that could be answered by public health through email or something. So whether or not those return visits, but that when you get home, we're going to need to have that checklist turned in to us. And that was kind of a question I had for you folks. You know, we're going to give you hard copy checklists, and there are a couple ways you can handle that. You could scan them in if you have that capacity and email them in, or you could just drop them at the drop point, you know, take them in somewhere. Does anybody have a strong preference one way or another? Or I guess we could just work that out. We'll give you a couple options.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the idea is, yes, we definitely want to get the information back in so that we can track it through Jeffco Cares. And again, Sarah's going to be helping us coordinate that, but we do need to make it clear to the participants that this is not a public health enforcement regulatory thing. They're helping us out, but this really is more of a chamber and a business community thing rather than a government thing. But they will help us track that, whether they've, you know, we'll be checking off they've had their visit, they've received their verified sticker, or they're pending verification based on these things. They have these outstanding questions. So each one's probably going to be a little different. Some are going to be in and out. I mean, some of our businesses have been working really hard to get this right. You're going to be in and out in no time. Oh, the one thing I was going to mention too on the visits, when you talk about the length of time, it's not just if they're chatty, but some of them might have to say, oh, well, it's best to allow them to put customer service first. So especially if there's only one person there, and a lot of our businesses are single people right now. You just need to say, sure, take your time, you know, do what you have to do, let them deal with their customer and then come back. So that could add some variability in the timing as well.
Another one of those things I had in my notes that I never read.
So we will be following up with an email that has a lot of information in it. That way you can kind of pull up some of these documents and be reading them and thinking about them, so that you can follow up with questions. You can just email me back, just do a reply, and I'll probably put both Arlene and Sarah on there as well as copies. So if you did a reply all, it would go to all three of us, and whoever would be the most appropriate will respond. And if it's something that the whole group would need to see, we'll collect all those Q&As and get them back out to the whole group. The other thing I want to mention, and you'll see in here, is that since you are volunteers working on an active incident with the Department of Emergency Management, we would love it if you could help track your time that you're putting in on this. So this particular training would count. And what you could do is just take a notebook or a piece of paper and keep a running log. Just put the date and the time, and from this time to that time, I did the training. And then you can do the same thing for when you get the materials. And I spent an hour reading and trying to understand all this information. And then on this date, I visited that business, etc. And just keep a running log, because by doing that, it gives hours to our volunteer load in the county, and the emergency management can use those volunteer hours to match funding that we can get back from FEMA, which is very important for the county, because we only can get usually up to about 75% of what we're spending. And as you know, the county coffers are getting hit just like all the businesses are getting hit. And so if we can use your hours to help counter that, then we'll get more money back. So I'll put something in the instructions on that as well to help you log that time, but it would really be appreciated.
Debbie, one other question. As a volunteer, are we insured by going out in any way?
Oh, that's a good question. You should be. Usually you get some. I will check with the director out there and find out what level, but you usually can as a, like those of you that are CERT trained, I know there is a certain amount of insurance you get when you're a verified volunteer. So I'll make sure that's in place and follow up with you on what that means.
All right.
Good question. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, this is Bethel Prescott.
Hi, Bethel. You're breaking up.
This is a carrot I'm seeing. Okay, this is the carrot, not the stick. And I run a Facebook group for, there's got about 2,000 people in the county in it. Some of those people are very vocal about never wearing a mask, and some of those people are business owners. And we also have a business owner who has been very upset about people who don't wear masks coming into his business and threatening him, etc. And he would like a little more enforcement. Is something like that going to come down the line from the health department after the carrot has been exhausted?
Well, again, the enforcement is difficult because, again, it's a directive, it's not a law. In order for there to be police to be able to come in and write a ticket to somebody for not wearing a mask, there would have to be legislative action to pass a law that can be enforced. What can be enforced is something that we don't like to think about, and that is if they're causing a public nuisance. In other words, if the business owner says, I'm sorry, you can't come in, we can do curbside service or whatever, you can come back, and they refuse and they're just causing a disturbance, they can call the police for a public disturbance. But there is another thing that we're going to be offering here, because this has come up before. Even in a store that is known for pretty good compliance, there's been people in there and they have customers getting in arguments, right? One trying to enforce masks on another. You can imagine. So Arlene has some good news on that, and I'd like to share that with you right now.
Okay. Well, can I say too, there's two things that I've been seeing in this group. Business owners who are flat out saying, I am not going to make people wear masks. I don't like masks, blah, blah, blah. You've heard it all. And they're owning a business.
Oops.
So I don't believe in basically what they're saying. So will there be any, how does that happen? Is that just through L&I, or is that?
That's through L&I,
work?
and people can report them. I mean, generally employees can report, but I think public can also report as well. If there's somebody that they go into a business and they see no active masking going on or being encouraged, they can report them to L&I as well.
There's also a website set up through the governor's office for various things that people are concerned about the businesses aren't doing to be in compliance with the governor's requirements. So that's another option. And we can definitely provide that to you for sure.
Okay.
So Arlene, do you want to talk about the?
To be clear, Governor, it is in fact a requirement to wear masks.
Yes, it's a directive from the governor, just like it's also a directive from our local public health officer. But again, they're directives and not laws, and that's the difference.
Isn't it also true that people that sign the pledge, or part of the pledge, actually talks about face masks? So this wouldn't be a surprise to these 100 people.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, the businesses we're visiting, masking is a big part of what they're doing. And you'll see that in the documents that you receive when you can actually look at the poster. It shows everything they've pledged to do. And masking is a big part of it.
Yeah, no, I'm really relieved that we're visiting those who are already on board.
Well, you're not going to have to convince a business owner to do these things. They're already signed up to do it. And we're hoping as we get more and more businesses on board that it starts to become kind of the social norm, and then that other businesses are going to see that they're not benefiting from unless they want all the maskless people to come to their business, then maybe they see that as an advantage. I don't know, but we're hoping to set a new normal.
There will always be those that don't,
Yeah, and
that want to do the opposite of whatever the thing is, whatever's being told. So, but yeah, you guys shouldn't be having to deal with those types of people that are making those choices. So the businesses you'll be dealing with have made the choice to wear the masks and to do all of the things that are in the pledge.
okay. I have one last question. Would anybody have an objection once we have the checklist? Would anybody have an objection to me putting that up on my Facebook group so that everybody can see ahead of time what the checklist is?
You mean, I don't see any. I mean, it's pretty much, it's public information. It's a checklist that's been based off of the documents that have already been published by the Department of Health and the governor's office. So I don't, and it's just a more formalized version of what the pledge really contains. So
Aren't they all different depending on the businesses that you're going to see? So you'd have many checklists, not just one.
that's true. There are
Absolutely
multiple
correct.
checklists. And
It wouldn't be good.
pardon?
Wouldn't necessarily be helpful.
No, if anything, you might want to just post a link that will provide you that goes up to the page that has all of the different documents, all of the different directives and documents for the
Okay, I'll
various
do that.
businesses.
I would second that, especially since the checklists are made off of the guidance that we've received from the government.
And also those documents are being updated more regularly. You might not get the most recent checklist. Obviously, if we see major changes happening on any of those guidance documents, we'll have to update our checklist. But the types of things we're working on, we're really not anticipating big changes at this time.
Okay. I'll share and put Jefferson County residents in one of my groups. And so, if we want to get the information out there, it's not
Sure.
a bad.
Yeah, well, you'll be sure to, we'll have that link for you in the emails that we follow up with probably later today or early tomorrow. And you'll see that link in there, and then you can share that.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bethel. Other questions?
One last one for us. If somebody wanted to take the pledge, how do they do that?
Arlene, it's jeffcocares.com, and they can sign up online.
Yeah. And we should probably let them know about the exciting thing we're doing this Friday. Because one of the things I've learned from listening to this call is that to all of you who are here, we should be sending out this same packet of information with all of the links that we send to the businesses when they sign up. Jeffco Cares, after you cut through all the verbiage, really says that we as a business understand our responsibilities to our staff, to the residents of our community and the visitors to keep them safe and healthy. We are committing to meeting or exceeding the state and local recommended guidelines for our business and to masking. That's what they say. They're not committing to a specific page or number or anything else. They know when they sign this pledge, and we've had conversations in chamber cafes and with individual businesses, they know that every once in a while, someone's going to cross their door that doesn't agree with the policies that they have in place. We have that great poster with the mask on it going out. It'll be in store windows to help make masking more friendly. We are going to have a masking contest where you could upload a selfie to our website and we'll share it on social media, and we'll try to make masking more fun and more cool and get the creative community engaged so that we can have some fun with this and make it like a contest with prizes and all kinds of fun things, so that it becomes less onerous and more fun to help each other out. But we know that there will be a point at most businesses at some time during all of this when, whether it's an owner or an employee, may face a conversation with a visitor or a staffer that is uncomfortable, where someone says, I don't want to, I won't. And they need to make a choice. Do they just let them in and potentially jeopardize their staff? Or do they let them leave and jeopardize their income? So those are the kind of decisions that we can't make for you. But what we are doing is this Friday at 10 a.m. at Chamber Cafe, we have Judd Haynes, who is a highly respected expert in de-escalation, coming, and he works as a navigator for the Port Townsend Police Department. He's going to come and do a special workshop that costs no money. So it is free to you and to our businesses, and we recommend it to everyone who signed the pledge. He's going to do a de-escalation workshop to help you through those situations. And we told the business owners, bring the challenges you've already had. If someone's asked you a question that you couldn't answer, or when you answered it, the conversation went south, bring that with us so we can learn what we all could from that. How could we do this better? How could we make it easier? Because the job of Jeffco Cares is to make it easier to follow the guidelines, easier to get into phase 2, easier to transition into phase 3, and easier to get back to all of us having open lives again. And to do that, we have to help each other out and we have to work together. And we're really excited. We've had 6 more businesses sign up today. So we're excited about that, that we're sort of on a roll. And we hope that you will join us. To join us on Friday, you will need to get login credentials. So to do that, you send an email to admin, ADMIN, at Jeff, JEFF, countychamber.org, admin at jeffcountychamber.org. And we will get you a link. You come join us and learn all you can, and then you can help reinforce that knowledge when you're.
And I will just reinforce how amazing Judd is. He's come and given talks at the health department about de-escalation, and he's a really great guy. And I'm actually going to even sign up for the one on Friday as a refresher, just because I just have a lot of respect for him and the way he handles his job. He's got a tough job, and he seems to do really well at it. So.
Yeah, so that's great, Arlene. I really appreciate you pursuing that, because that's come up in just about every call we have is people's concern about that type of thing, because as you know, it's kind of become a political statement in these politically divisive times, and we need to, empower ourselves and each other with, let's not escalate this to a point, we don't need that added aggravation in our lives. None of us do. So it's great. Judd is great, and he'll be really good at that. And we're inviting all of our businesses. But again, if you can attend, you'll be empowered with that information. and you can share that with the businesses that maybe weren't able to take advantage. And again, I think Arlene is planning to record that so that if they miss it, they can also come back and view it at their, when they have time, because I think it will be very valuable, not just for this issue, but heaven knows, all our businesses have challenges with customers on occasion, or people just coming in that want to cause a little bit of a ruckus. So the more we can de-escalate and not have to call the police, there's been so much in the news these days, the better off we all are.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That's
Arlene, could you give that email address again, please?
Sure. That's admin, ADMIN, admin at jeffcountychamber.org. Jeff, JEFF, countychamber.org.
Chamber.org. Okay. And county is spelled out? County is spelled out, right?
County
It's
is
not
spelled
CO?
out. Everything is spelled out except for Jefferson.
Admin at jeffcountychamber.org.
I know it's a handful, isn't it? Yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll try to remember to put that in the follow-up email that goes out as well.
just a messaging or kind of messaging comment is given that, I think one of the messages that we could relay in this is that it's not necessarily about the compliance, as you've all said, but I think a key message is learning. When you're doing something you've never done before, how you do the best with that is when you learn. And that we all don't know how to do this individually. We're going to learn how to do it collectively. And that this is an opportunity to empower that learning for ourselves individually, for our businesses, and for our community. And I think that that kind of message would be a great messaging, so that that's more what people have the opportunity to do and what these visits are for, versus compliance and, just doing a checklist, so to speak, which I know that's not the intent.
Perfect. Very well said. I think that was kind of our intent on all of this, but I love the way you've reframed it and captured the key message there. That's really what this is all about. And that's one reason we wanted Sarah here, because that's kind of her job and she has to live this on a regular basis. And I think, especially though, like you say, during a time of great change, we're all learning together. And I do think that's a great way to approach it, because we're going to be learning from the businesses. And again, if they have feedback that they want to make sure gets fed back to public health and on up the chain, we can do that. This group is plugged in there. Again, I'm plugged in through emergency management that's meeting a couple times a week now, and that gets right up to our leadership team, our elected leaders and others. So that feedback that they have can come back through us as well, so, and be magnified. So thank you for that, Jack. Anything else? Well, I think this has been a very successful meeting. I'm very appreciative of everybody making the time. Again, you've really stepped up here. I know a lot of you volunteer, probably in a lot of capacities. You bring your special expertise. I was just thrilled to have so many good people step forward, and we will be following up with you in email. But in the meantime, you all know how to reach me if you have any questions before you hear back from us, and we'll try to get this written material out to you just as soon as possible. Like I said, we're still kind of building this plane as we're flying it, so you might get some draft copies of things, but we'll make sure that's why we're waiting till about a week out to make sure everything's really finalized before you're stepping across the threshold at one of these businesses. So thank you again, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Arlene, and thank you for the program. Sarah, thank you for stepping up. You're just doing a great job for kind of getting thrown into something really mysterious. You really picked it up, so thank you for that. Okay, well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Look forward to working with all of you.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.